before you like allow that friendship to go to deeper level, look at how they treat others. You create trust by asking for help. Stop being vulnerable and not giving help. So you establish trust between yourself and the next person by asking for help, not by offering. Okay, you will get this joke. I'm declaring you will get this joke. I was reading this novel, and then there was this woman was talking to her. Okay, not like a child. Like the child was a grown woman. The child was like 20 something, in her early 20s. So this young lady, this child was in her early 20s. She was complaining. So the mother is like a superstar. Everybody likes her. So the child was like, "Mom, you're not supportive of me because I don't want to be a star. I just want to live a normal, simple life. That is why I've always made disappointment to you. And if you haven't noticed, that is why I always do like the weirdest thing. I always bring like these things just to show you that I don't want to be a star like you." And the mom is like, "No, my daughter, no. I love you. I am proud of you. What do you mean? I love the way you stand your own ground. I love the way you decided to come and live this poor you decided to come and live this poor life. I am proud of you." That is something that my mother, now the mother is saying, that is something that my mother has never told me. She has never told me she was proud of me. Not my mom, not my dad. None of them ever told me they were proud of me. But I want you to know, daughter, grown daughter in your early 20s, I want you to know I am proud of you. And then the daughter is like, "What? Mom, what do you mean? I always thought that they were proud of you because you were like this big superstar." And then the mother's like, "No, daughter, they were not proud of me." And here comes the father, the husband to this mother. The husband is like, "Because they died, guys. Because they died. The reason they didn't tell your mom that they were proud of her is because they died. Before your mom became star, they had died. So how could they told her or tell her they were proud of her? They died, guys." Have you gotten that joke really? Umepata joke well? Have you gotten that joke? The mother is like, "Oh, my mom and dad have never told me they were proud of me, and here I am telling you I'm proud of you." And then the husband is like, "Stop, woman. The reason they didn't tell you they're proud is because they were not on earth. So stop." I believe, I have faith you have gotten that joke. Well, that was very unrelated. Very unrelated. So, friendship. If we are honest, if you're very honest, at least for myself and for the most people I've interacted with, we were not taught. Like nobody sat, at least not directly, because when I was researching about this topic, I came to realize that indirectly, we were taught indirectly. Like nobody taught us directly how to be a good friend. Like nobody sat you down and then they taught you like this is how you be a good friend. And if I'm honest, like nowadays, let me speak, people in my generation, most people in my generation, I see that they tell their kids something like, "You should be kind. You should," like they tell it directly, "You should be kind to others. If you cannot be kind, keep quiet. You should be compassionate. When somebody is going through a hard time, when somebody is crying, don't look at them and tell them, 'Sasa, why are you crying? Is there something to cry about?' No. Try and be empathetic as to why they are crying." I see that a lot with people in my generation that have children. Now, for most of us and our elder sisters and even our parents, nobody taught them directly like that. They were just taught indirectly, in very indirect ways. They were taught how to be kind. And it is actually very good to teach these things directly, because if you haven't noticed, where we live in a society where people are cruel for no reason, for no apparent reason, someone is cruel. Even to, they could be seeing you're doing something, maybe you've decided you want to start selling clothes, alafu anakuuliza, "Asa unadhani nani atanunua hizi nguo?" Like, who do you think is going to buy these clothes? Surely. And to most people, the first things that come out of their mouth is not something kind. It's something very cruel, something very demoralizing. Ni kitu ukisikia, if kama una moyo, utajipanga. Itabidi umekuwa na moyo. So things like friendship, we are socialized to think that they come very natural. Ni kitu inakujanga tu, it's a natural thing. It's either you're naturally friendly or you're not. It's either you'll be friends naturally or you do not. And I look at it from two angles. There is the natural bit, but there is the part where you have to put effort for that friendship to like blossom into something beautiful. Like now the natural part is like people you normally vibe with. You know, kuna vibe, kuna to your energy levels matches. For example, I can meet person A and person B. I can vibe more with person A and vibe less with person B. Now that is the natural bit where for reason unknown to me, I feel like I am more inclined to person A, or my energy level matches with person's A energy level, and they don't match well with person B. So there is that part for the naturally. But moving forward, for me to like have a meaningful friendship with this person A, it will go beyond like the natural. You don't just leave things to nature like that. As they say, good things take time. And not only time, but they also need to be built. There is nothing good that comes easy. Even in friendship, although we have been socialized, I don't know by who, to think that friendship should just come natural.
A long day, a long week, and even a long month, it is only proper to sit down and relax. Talk about the challenges that you've experienced and even vent if you want to. Also, take time to look at and celebrate our wins, because let's be real, we don't only have challenges, but we also have good things that have happened around us, and it is only proper to sit down and look at them even as you celebrate them. So take time, sit back, relax, and let's unwind.
How can we be better friends? Number one, learning to pick your friends. Learning to pick your friends. So now this is where now it will go beyond the natural part. Like this is where it will go beyond the natural, because now you have to pick your friends. And if you're honest, if you look carefully, sometimes you'll realize that most of our friends, we did not pick them. And even as I'm saying it, if if you're not keen, you might hear it with a manipulative ear. No, I'm not saying that we should be manipulative. No, picking our friends does not mean we become manipulative. I want you to think of it like the way when you date. You know, like when you're dating, even towards marriage, you are normally you pick. You don't, in as much as there is like the natural, the person you vibe with, chemistries of tuzote, but you're actually very active in who you want to date. In the same way, we should be very active with who we want to be our friends. We should learn to pick our friends. We should not just allow things to happen naturally, but you should actually take an active role in picking your friends, not being manipulative. So how can we go about this? First thing is like having a list of what are some of the things you want in a friendship and what are some of the things you don't want. What type of a friend do you want, and what type of a friend don't you want? Have that list, like this is what I want, these are my red flags, these are things I don't want, these are my green flags, these are things that I want in a friendship, or this is things I want in a friend. Once you have that list, ask yourself, do you have those things? Because it is, let us just be genuine, it's a two-way thing. This is a friendship, it's a two-way thing. If you want to have better friendships, you should also be a better friend. So if you're saying I don't like friends that gossip, are you a gossip? Do you entertain gossip? If you want a friend that minds their business, do you mind your business, or are you in everybody else's businesses? If you want a friend that is kind, are you kind? Do you treat people kindly, or are you one of the cruelest people you know on earth? So have your green flags, have your red flags, and just have that list with you. Now, you might say, "Ah, this is such a cliche thing, nini, nini." But as I was doing research, I actually came to realize that these things, it is actually very beneficial to like have a list. It eliminates blind spots. Now, what is a blind spot? A blind spot is when you all of a sudden realize, why is it that all my friends are drunkards? Why? And why is it that most of my friends are broke? Why is it that most of my friends maybe are gossip? Or why is it that most of my friends are they're not supportive? When I want them to be there, they don't show up for me like that. Because most of the times is we realize these things much later. So you don't pick them in the very beginning, you pick them much later. And yes, granted that I know you cannot, like, there are people who are very good in pretending, yes, and also the fact that we're all humans. Sometimes in the excitement of you've met a new person, you like their vibes, meaning some of these things can easily bypass you. But now if you have a list, if you're very active and you're very intentional that I am going to pick my friends, this is where now it will like help to sharpen and train your senses. And yes, maybe sometimes, I'm not saying like you will be perfect all the times, you might miss one, two, three, but you'll actually, if you put this thing to practice, you'll realize that you're becoming actually better in picking or having better friends. So blind spot, as I was saying, is when you all of a sudden realize that why is it that most of my friends are not supportive? Why is it that most of my friends are jealous? Why is it that most of my friends, when I tell them I want to start one, two, three, instead of giving me support, they're like, girl, you're going to fail. This is because you failed to pick it in the very beginning. And having these lists and being very intentional that I am going to be very intentional about picking my friends, it can minimize this. Again, I learned a lot as I was doing research for this. I was like, and these things are actually true. So for example, let me just give an example. Maybe now I have met, let's say I've met a person, right? I've met a girl, okay, most likely a girl that I like her vibes, she likes my vibes, and we're like vibing, our energies are matching, and we find that we're learning to get to know each other better and better. And I'm seeing here there's a potential for being very good friends. So once I realized that, immediately, if I have this list, I will not start becoming very keen. Remember, if I'm coming from a background where most of my friends have been supportive, you like try to see, for example, and the best way you can get this is look at how they're treating other people, not how they're treating you. Look at how they're treating other people who per se they're not like her friends, or they're not like her squad. So when she hears somebody has started this business, how does she respond? Is her first response to say, oh, nah, I just know that business is going to fail? How can so and so own a business? How can so and so anawezaje fungua boutique, anawezaje fungua cyber, hata ajuangi kutype vitu kama hizo? So if you realize, excuse me, that the first thing this person does is like to bring that person down, you automatically tell yourself, chances are high that in the near future, if you want to do something, they might not learn to support you. Because I think one of my favorite sayings that I love is, you don't, although people say this in matters like love relationships, but I also think you can apply it in friendship relationships, that they tell you, before you like choose to marry someone, look at how they treat somebody, because that is how they might treat you in future. The same thing to friends. Before you like allow that friendship to go to deeper level, look at how they treat others. And it is okay if it is, for example, if there are people, perhaps they could be trying the wrong thing. Maybe they want to become maybe they want to become a chef and they really don't know how to cook. You can say, so and so has decided to start a kibandaski, has decided to start a small hotel, but we know that her level or his level of cooking is not that well. This business is most likely to fail unless they improve their cooking skill. But if it is one person out of like many, that is fine. But if this friend or potential friend keeps putting everybody's ideas down, akisikia so and so is doing this, put the idea down, akiona so and so is trying to work hard to get a promotion, putting that person down, then that in itself shows something is up. Or if this friend, for example, you tell them, maybe your colleagues, or maybe you have a mutual friend who is going through a hard time, and then you tell them, so and so has maybe her shop has burnt, maybe they were robbed, maybe they've lost some amount of money. Let's go and visit this friend and just try to encourage her. Try to see her response. If her response is mchana naye, leave her alone, hata kwangi huyu msichana hata kwangi supportive, if that is her response, if this person is not eager to show other people support, then most likely this person may not be eager to come and support you. Some of these things we can spot them in the very beginning if we are keen and learn to see how this person is treating other people. It's only that we normally encourage ourselves that she can't treat me that way until it is your turn and she treats you the same way she treated other people. Again, it is okay. Maybe there are other, you may not be able to support everyone, that's fine. But if every person gets a challenge and this person is always avoiding going to shop for that person, most likely they may not show up for you. And granted that some people are shy naturally, so they may not be able to, but at least they should show up. At least they should tell them, I know you're shy, but jikaze too, show up for this person because one day you will need support. But if that encouragement itself does not work, when it comes to your time, that friend will be so shy to come and support you. And then all my friends are fake. So some of these things, we can spot them early if we are keen to look at how people that we want to be our friends are treating other people. Only that, we just like, aizi nifanyia hivyo, she can't treat me that way, I'm a friend until it is your turn. So it is always good to have a list of the, so this is what a list will do. You'll be like keen, utakuwa unaangalia mtu anatreat aje. And if you have somebody who is always, now this is like the obvious thing, I don't know why people miss it. If you have somebody who is always telling you about other people's business, and I mean always, this is very, very different with two friends sitting down to catch up. If we are genuine, we can tell the difference between the two, because it is very normal for friends to sit down and you're just doing catch up. So and so alifanya 1 2 3, so and so wako hapa, so and so. There's a very huge difference between catch up and gossip. So when you're just playing catch up, like this is what has happened, this, or you're just telling somebody what has happened, I don't know how to explain it, but you can tell. If you're genuine, you can tell the difference when someone is just doing catch up and when it is pure gossip. So if someone is always gossiping about other people, better, this one is proved. This one I have seen, you have seen. This is just like the most obvious thing. Even you have seen it. You have seen it. Just look at that group of gossips, the way they behave. They will gossip about other people, and then when one of them leaves, they will start gossiping about that person. The same thing. And this thing, it is very obvious. This is not like rock science. This is not even science. This is just things that we all see with our eyes. It's only that we like to pretend and to think, they cannot gossip about me. If they, who are you? Like, who are you? Hey, wakimalizana now, you'll be the next. So these are some of the things. So have like that list, green flags and red flags. Like, we are very active in choosing like our marriage spouses and all that, which is a good thing. But when it comes to friendship, we have left it to nature. Like, when your two vibes just like the way our energy level will take us. That is why you find that most of us have very weird friends. And we're here complaining, there's no friends on this earth. They are friends. On this earth, they are friends. I have witnessed good friends. They are not many, but they're there. They don't all behave the same, but they're there. The same way not marriages are the same way friends are not the same, but they are there. But it requires us to be very intentional when we are picking these friends. And the first thing is to have a list. Write this list down up. This is what I want in a friend. This is not what I want. And then observe how this person that you see there's a potential of you two being very good friends, observe how they treat others, and observe like and then observe even from the small things. How do they treat you when you tell them about your small success? How do they treat you? Maybe you say one of your lists, you want somebody who can celebrate with you. You can share something small like, manze, gosh, I wanted to buy this dress. I thank God I bought this dress. Look at the attitude. Are they like, do they dismiss that's like, that's you need to celebrate kweli? You just bought a dress. People are, there's a way friends can joke, which is okay. But there's a way when somebody says something, you'll be like, hey, Appa, I've noted something. If they dismiss somebody like, oh my God, I'm happy for you, that's a very good dress. congrats, kitu kama hiyo. But if they dismiss it, most likely evil. So some of these things, again, because I believe you can pick them. There is a difference between two friends jesting like, as I dress tu ndio kufurahisha hivyo. But anyway, I'm happy for you. You know, you can tell a difference between a jokeful, friendly jest and kuna kitu hapa. There is something here. Only that maybe because we really want this friendship, we're like, maybe I'm being too much. So it's always good to be very keen. Be very attentive with the people you are actively pursuing friendship. I think the problem is we don't actively pursue friendship. We allow nature to do its thing. So you find that you ended up being very close friend with person X, not because you are actively pursue it, but because you are vibing, and then vibes after vibes, pop, mkajipata now you're good friends. So and most likely, okay, there are those that end up being good, but mostly hapo unafika unasema, hey, enyewe, and then afterwards you're like, hey, I saw this, yeah, I saw this, I don't know, last year sijui March when what was Adisema, she said this thing, and then I don't know 5 years ago, I don't know what, and then she said this. Surely, so some of these things we can pick them up. And I know, and I'll also be genuine and say there are those friends you can do everything right, but eventually they just shock you and they're like, this one I genuinely didn't see it coming. That also happens. However, I think that if you are trying to be better friends, there are things that we can do better in. And some of that is learning to pick friendships, actively pursuing friends. Yes, and this also means that if you're pursuing a friendship and you see the other party is not interested, let it go. Let it go. It's not a must. Just remain colleagues. Just remain, like shallow quote unquote friends or people or someone you just say hi ama someone for good vibes, but unajua tu huyu ni mtoto wa good vibes. This is not like my friend, but this is just someone we are just having good vibes with, and there is nothing more to it than that. So I think that is something else. So also haimaanishi now everybody you're going to pursue, haimaanishi that every person you're going to pursue is going to be like atakubali. Some will say yes, some will work, some will say yes and not work out. Some will say no, and strangely, and I won't lie, there are also those that you try to pursue it and then ukaona ni kama hakuna kitu, and then eventually you end up becoming good friends. So is creating a safe environment for friendships. So another way of becoming a better friend is creating a safe environment for friendships. Number one, learn to be a person who can keep secrets. Like, this just goes without saying. When somebody confides in you, even in the little things, don't be quick to tell the next and the next and the next and the next person, because the major reasons, one of the things that breaks friendship is, see, I told you something and then you told person A to evil, and then it comes back to me. Like, that has been a common complaint against all friendships. So we should learn to be like a safe place for our friends. Learn to keep a secret, and if you know you can't keep a secret, tell that person. Tell them, please don't tell me your secret, because if you tell me, I am most likely to tell somebody else. And if you know you have that weakness, also try as much as you can to work in yourself, because if you can't keep a secret, itakuwaje? So learn to keep people's secrets. Be a safe space. When somebody comes and shares the struggles, learn to keep them. Don't share them with every person out there. Number 2 is listen actively and don't be judgmental. Listening actively. And I know sometimes when you listen to somebody telling you a problem, we are quick to give advice, as it has been said, and it actually works. Even from my own personal experience, the people I like to tell issues when I'm going through is somebody I know who is going to listen, because I do have friends who are very quick to give advice. I won't lie. I've come up, like where I am right now, I will only tell them the issue if I want an advice, and that will be like months and months later after I've gone through that thing. But if something is to hurt me right now, I will take a phone and I will call a friend who is just going to listen. natanisaidia tu vent hapo, we are busy say alifanyaje, to vent, sijui nini. Even we just talk, we just let it out of our chest, and at the end of it all you feel lighter. And if you're honest, some of these advices that people give us, we already know them. If someone is telling you, you need to let go, I already know I need to let go. Eventually I will let go, but in the meantime I just want a place to like vent. There is nothing wrong with venting. There is nothing wrong with getting things out of my chest and saying how so and so disappointed me, how they did this, how they did that, funny, who do they think they are, sijui nini, even them they did 1 2 3, even them they're not perfect, waende huko sijui nini. After I've said all that, I know at the back of my mind I need to forgive. I know at the back of my mind I need to let go. And I also know at the back of my mind they are not perfect. They're also human beings. They also make mistakes. Yes, I know that. So it does not mean when I'm venting that I don't know this. It does not mean I am planning to hold a grudge against them. It simply means I just want to get it out of my chest and at least isikae hapa. So sometimes when somebody is going through something, just listen. And I know even personally I have to research these things. Like when someone is going through hard things, how can you show the same support? And most researchers such as Mesmer to come, how do you feel about it? Ask those questions. I'm also not very good personally. I will listen, and then if you're my friend, I will help you. I don't know if me personally I will help you vent against that person. I will be like, alifanya, what did this person do? Kwani who is he? I will be venting. I'll have to share vent. But I'll come and tell you, nani, but it was a petty thing. But later on, not immediately, but it was a petty thing. Just let go. But I'm not good with asking these questions that most questions like, how do you feel? I hardly ask how do you feel. Mimi nakwanga tu, what happened? Ati what? She did what? Alisema nini? What did that person say? So that is how I am. And then I help you vent. But as I was researching, you ask that person, how do they feel? And some of these questions. So even me, I know. So these questions you're asking them is to help them become better emotionally. And then later on, baadaye kabisa, you can give advice. So yeah, listen actively. And then one way of listening actively is maintaining eye contact. If put your phone away, maintain when someone is talking to you, look at them, and then even what you do with your body language, sometimes you can nod, and if they say something shocking, you're like, what, and don't fake it. If it is not shocking, don't be shocked na si kitu shocking. Usikopo amesema tu eti nikatembea nikaanguka, you're like, what? Sasa don't be shocked at things that don't require that reaction, but get shocked where there is need for someone getting shocked. Yeah, so you're like, what? So whatever you do with your body language, you encourage someone. Where you're encouraging someone to speak, so you encourage them. What? Whatever you do with the body language, it can show that you're actually listening. But if someone is telling you this person, and then this person slapped me, and you're like, oh, she slapped you, seriously. Someone has just told you somebody slapped you, and you're like, it's as if it is very normal for people to be slapped. What? And don't fake it. If it is not shocking, just look at them and say, they slapped you. Okay, but you want to slap what? So if you know that person is slapping people, but don't fake it. But at least show that you're actually paying attention and you're actually interested in what this person is saying. And then listen. Don't interrupt them. No, this is something I'm not good. I interrupt people. For example, if someone is telling me something and they're going round the bush, and then this person, they did this, I'm like, wait, he skip up, and I'm like, go, alikupiga, she saw, because maybe this person wants to say they did A, B, C, D, and then they slapped me. So normally I'm like, wait, they slapped you, wait. But I have a friend who will be like, wait, I'm the one telling the story. Wait, I'm the one telling the story. So I have learned that, and I'm hoping I do better, that when I'm listening, I should keep quiet. I should allow the person to talk. I should not be quick, amalize. I end up kwa ile gist, because I'm like, come on girl, give me the gist, skip to the gist. But I should tone down and wait for them to give me the gist when they want to give me the gist. So learn to listen, avoid interrupting, and also make sure like you don't fake it, but pray to God that you will be actually, when you're actually interested in what that somebody is saying, your body language actually tells us. So this is one of creating a safe, and it works for me. And if you're careful with the people you normally go to, this is what they normally do, intentionally or not intentionally. So when you want to create a safe environment to our friends, we need to learn to listen actively and not being judgmental. Be empathetic. This is something that we are lacking in this generation, in our generation. But finally, I see that we are teaching our children to like have it, being empathetic. When somebody is crying because of a very silly thing, at that moment when they're crying, just be with them. Afterwards, wakishamaliza kulia, tell them, nani, tukue too serious. Don't you think that was a very silly thing to cry about? Even, but allow that person to vent the emotion, to process it. Be empathetic. It might be silly to you. Maybe you have that emotional muscle, but it is not silly for them. So when you are busy, if somebody is going through a very hurtful thing for them and they're crying, and then you're like, "Sorry, Pia, you like crying? Is this something you cry about?" When you're doing that, what you're doing is like you're trying to suppress this person's feeling, and this person, instead of them maturing, they might mature, but they might mature with a lot of heart, and they might end up being that type of a person who is also not empathetic. But if you allow people to express themselves, to go through it, you to express, hata kama it's something that nobody should be crying about, allow them to do it, and then baadaye you can tell them, I understand that you are hurt, but I want you to know that that thing was a bit light. It didn't require that excessive outburst of emotions. And then explain them to them, maybe share them with the experience, and then they will learn. But it is always good to like be empathetic. Just because it is silly for you, it does not mean it might be silly for that other person. And I think like this, there's a missing link. People who have grown emotionally, they tend to look at people who are still in their journey of emotional growth like, sasa hiyo nikichukulia, like, why are you crying? Grow up, what's wrong with you? So you end up making this person feel very silly, feel stupid, feel like they're the worst type of human being for feeling this emotion. And what that happens, this person will now, they will avoid you. Even though you meant well, the way you delivered, you didn't deliver well. That is why they say the road to hell is filled with a lot of good intentions. So just because you mean well does not mean how you delivered it landed well. So if you have grown, if you're mature, if you have developed a thick skin, when this person you've identified they're still young, be empathetic. Allow them to vent their emotion. Allow them to do all that. And once they're at a safer place and a better place where they're calm, now talk to them and tell them, sincerely speaking, whatever you're going through is not that huge. It did not warrant that type of emotion. Then explain to them why. Then give them your own personal experience so that they actually learn from you. But what I see most of us, mtu ndio sasa hiyo kitu imemuuma, and something has broken someone, and that person is crushed, and you're there with good intentions, like, you need to be serious. You are a woman, eh? You need to toughen up. This world, women must be tough. Why are you crying? Is that something to cry about? Look at you. So when you're doing these things, you are crushing this person. Already this person is feeling bad. So this person will end up feeling two things happen. Either this person becomes crushed kabisa, they feel useless, they feel like they don't deserve to be a woman, they're like the worst woman on earth, they're the worst mothers on earth, they're the worst everything on earth. Who are them? So this person is crushed. This person will end up avoiding you because every time they see you, they're reminded of how silly they are as a person. Two, the other type is you create another version of yourself. Somebody who is strong, very mature, but lacks empathy. You walk around crushing other people who are still weak. So yes, you are strong. Yes, you have matured up, but you still need it. Costs nothing to be kind. It costs nothing to be empathetic. We are all at different stages of growth emotionally and even other areas. So if you are there, the way you deliver really matters. Because I actually see two kind of people. One who is grown but lacks empathy. People who say the worst things, meaning the best things. The road to hell is filled with good intentions. And then we have two people who are crushed, people whose self-esteem has been damaged. And as a part of these people whose self-esteem has been damaged, it was not damaged by somebody who was intentionally trying to damage their self-esteem. It was damaged by a person who had good intention, but the way they landed their points finished that person. So yeah, so that's why they say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Creating a safe environment for our friendships. So keep people's secrets, listen attentively, don't judge others, and then the third one under creating a safe environment is being vulnerable. And this as I was doing this research, I came across this statement. It says you create trust by asking for help, stroke being vulnerable and not giving help. So you establish trust between yourself and the next person by asking for help, not by offering help. And I actually, when I looked at it in my life, it was true. The people, at least according to me, the people that I have trusted or have come to be very close are people whom were honest. How do I say? They were honest enough to ask. They were honest enough to open themselves to me. So when I saw that somebody told me, maybe they shared with me something they were going through, or they opened up to me about something that even I could not open up to someone else, I felt wanted, I felt valuable, and then what happened? I was then willing to open up to them. So trust was created not because I told them I am here for you, not because I told them if you ever want to confess something, I'm here for you, but because they trusted me enough and opened themselves to me. They were able to share about what they were going through. So so you create trust by asking for help and not offering help. And even the other day, somebody called me and was like, hey, can you help me 1, 2, 3? And I tried my best and I was actually able to help them. And I was like, what? Me? I can help somebody? I don't know. It made me feel so nice. And I was listening to someone speak and they were sharing that they had a friend who was going through something and they didn't know. And then once the friend had overcame it, that friend shared with him that, in the past 6 months I was going through 1, 2, 3, but finally I was able to solve it. And this friend was like, and you didn't tell me? Seriously? What type of a friend I am? And that happened, sincerely speaking. If you learned that your friend was going through a hard time and they didn't tell you, you will not be happy about it. You'll feel very sad, and then you'll question that friendship. And in your mind, you'll be like, again, I guess we are not friends. And that is how some friendships, although the person going through that thing means well, it actually destroys friendship. So one of the way of creating a safe environment in your friendship is asking for help from your friends. And remember, these are friends that you have ascertained their behavior. These are friends that they will not go out there and publicize your business to everyone. These are friends that you actively picked them, people you know their character, people you've tested their character. And granting that you can never be perfect, really, you can do all these things and still shock to somebody just shocks you and hurts you. That happens, but at least these are people that you have tested their character, you have come to know that they mean well, and then ask for help. This is how you actually create a safe environment, by taking the first step and asking for help and being the first person to be vulnerable. Don't wait for them to be vulnerable. Creating a safe environment for friendship. The third and the last thing on how to be a better friend is learning your friends' love language, stroke learning to show up for your friends the way they want people to show up for them, not the way you prefer people to show up for you. So let me qualify this. Again, this is something I have witnessed in myself and in others. Excuse me. When somebody is going through something, it is our natural inclination is to show up to them the way we would want someone to show up for us. So, using the best example, when someone is going through a hard time, when they call me, I am most likely to help that friend vent, because this is what I desire. When I am going through something and I call you and I'm like, hey, this happened, My number one desire is for you to help me vent. Don't give me advice. Don't try to make me see that I am the problem. At least not then. Maybe baadaye. Don't try to say, but you know, there is your side, her side, and then the truth. Don't tell me that. I already know there is my side, his side, and then the truth. I already know that. Tell me these things later on. But when that thing has just happened and I call you, my desire is help me vent. So because this is what I desire, this is what I normally do. When a friend is going through something, nikishaona tu, once I see that phone call, I'm like, what happened? Who did what? Where? Now, for most of my friends, this work. But I used to have a friend whom they preferred being given advice, and I think maybe that is one of the reasons why our friendship ceased, because by then I didn't know what I know now. So I believe this is one of the reasons why our friendship really ended or it died. I think so. So because personally, if they're going to do something, when they called me, I was like, what? And then they're like, no, this is not what I want from you. We don't talk that about them. And then in my mind, I'm confused. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm trying to show you support. Why are you getting angry at me? Because she wanted me to give her advice. The same to me when I was going through something, and then I will call her. The first thing she will do is give me an advice. And the moment she gave me the first advice, I was like, you know what? I'll call you later. Nakata simu. So yeye pia nabaki hapo. So she's like, kwani what have I done? Because she's also showing up to me the way she wants somebody to show up for them. Do you see the mistake we did then? So I think in the course of time, because I met people who like helped me vent, and then she met people who gave her advice, and also I really didn't know what I know now. So eventually that friendship died. So, but looking back in time, for her, I would have shown up the way she desires people to show up for her. I would have listened to her, and then at the end of it all, I would like try to give an advice. And if I didn't have one, I'll tell her, Manzemi, I don't have any advice to give you, but I'm praying for you and all will be well. You see, that is better than me just going straight to vent. And even for her, she would have like, if she can't vent, she'd be like, Manze, I'm really sorry, I can't like vent and all that stuff, but kenye ilifanya ni mbaya, hata kama ni something shallow, something like whatever that person did is, but at least I would have known and understood that they are not able maybe to meet me where I am at. But because I didn't have that knowledge, I don't know if she had that knowledge, so eventually that friendship ended. But for most of us, this is it. So for example, if somebody has just maybe her shop has burnt down, and then maybe the person whose shop has burnt down, the way they like people to shop for them is for you to just be there, sit with them, eat ice cream, watch movies, take a walk, but don't you dare give them money. Don't you give them money. Maybe because they have trauma issues with being given money, and maybe for you, the way you like somebody to shop for you is something practical, like my shop has burnt down. If you're coming, come with money. Give me something that can help me build that shop. Yes, let us sit down, let us eat ice cream, let us do all those things, but at the end of it all, give me money. Now, if these two people are not aware of their friends' love language, how their friends want each other to show up for them, the two of them will go around calling the other person a bad friend. Kumbe, the two of them have not learned each other. It is not that the other party is a bad friend. It is only that the other party has not learned how the other party wants them to show up for them. So utapata how this person might come na naletea huyu mtu pesa. Then the past person shop yake imechomeka akiona pesa, anajama anambia, why are you bringing for me money? Did I tell you I want money? Do you think I don't have money? You think I'm sitting here because I don't have money? So you feel like it can cause an outburst, and this other person is like, but I'm trying to be your friend. Why you could come here? And then at the end of the day, that friendship ends. Not because either of them is a bad friend, but because they have not learned each other, or vice versa. This person is there, although they have the money, they're like, okay, let me sit with you, nini, let me buy you ice cream, nini. And then this other person, out of lack of wisdom, they go and share with other people and say, so and so, when they came, they just bought me ice cream, they just sat there, we just watched movies. Can you imagine? And I know she has money. She didn't even bring me a bale of clothes. She didn't even like offer to build me something. And we all know she has money. And if this information reaches the other person, this person will feel bad because they are showing up the best way they can. So it is always good Speaking from experience personally and from what I've seen, learn your friend. Even sometimes just ask, when you're going through a hard time, how do you prefer someone to show up for you? Do you prefer them to give you an advice? Do you prefer them to vent? Do you prefer them to give you money? Do you prefer them to just sit with you and watch? Do you prefer them to give you stories? Do you prefer them to just keep quiet? Because people are different and people would wish to be supported very differently. So it is always good to ask. Don't assume. Ask. If you really do want to create better friendship, ask. You will be shocked. Ask. Asking helps solve a lot of misunderstandings, and eventually then try, and where you can't, just tell that person and say, hey, I'm sorry, I can't, maybe I'm not in a position to give you money right now, but is it okay if I come and just sit with you? If that person is say, thank you, and if that is not true, you don't want, also be wise in how you're responding. Say, I appreciate that you actually want to be here, but for now I'm not like in the right space of having someone in my environment. Maybe give me a day or two, a week or two, and maybe we can reschedule. So if somebody tells you that, say, okay, I understand. Now, because they've told you a week or two, we can reschedule. After 2 weeks, call them. It is for the person who wants to show support. You are the one who's supposed to take the active role. Call that person who needs support and ask them, hey, can I come now? And then they're like, okay, fine, you can come, or maybe not. Don't judge them. Don't tell them, well, Pia, surely it's 2 weeks later when you're still mourning. No, don't judge them. You are not them. You're not them. You're not their feelings. You're not them going through that thing. If they tell you not yet, evil. But if they keep telling you not yet, then at least you know you reached out as much as you could. The problem is we want to force our ways to the other person. But remember, you are the one offering support. Because you're the one offering support, work with that person, and also vice versa to you. Now, if it is your turn to receive support, the other party should also be willing to work with you. I think if we reach this level, we might actually salvage a lot of relationships that ended. There are those that end for the good reasons, but there are those that end because both parties had not really learned each other, and had not learned each other's love languages, and had not learned each other's character. Because sometimes we think this love language is only for marital relationship. No, it's for friends, and it's also for like your family members. And I saw somewhere also for a workplace. Me workplace no siko. I think workplace is where I draw the line. Workplace, no, please, we are there to work, full stop. But I think we need to like put effort in our friendships, because friendships are huge. Somebody who has good friends that meet her other like friendship emotional needs, they are most likely to preserve the romantic relationship, because now they will not put a lot of burden to this romantic relationship. You will not like depend this man or woman to be like, and some of these things, okay, it is also very unfair if your friends know you're struggling and your spouse does not know. I'm not advocating for that, but at least it is good. There are some challenges you can talk with your friends, and then but then you could, hata kama ushaongelesha spouse wako, there are things you can actually talk with your friends, and hata kama you're not talking, then some people you can just go hang out. Maybe your spouse is not a football person, you want to force them to be a football person. Now, if you have friends that love football, that need is met and they're good friends. Maybe your spouse does not like watching movies, but if you have somebody you can watch movies with, even, and granted that we should try and do some of the things our spouses like, I understand there is the part for that, yes, but if we are honest, everything that your spouse likes, you may not like it. You cannot try to like everything they like. You can choose one or two or three. Hizo zingine Mungu amsaidia kuna mabeshte. Go to help him to have friends whom they can explore that. Maybe this person likes to golf, you don't like golfing. They can meet with their golf buddies. And at the end of the day, kwani you are the only human being they're going to talk with. They also need friends in their life that they can talk about other things. So if you ask me, if we took time, any friendship is so huge. If you're honest, it's actually part of our human needs. We all need to have good friends, and we have a role to play. You have a role to play, I have a role to play. Don't just sit there as a passive party waiting for good friendships to find you. Take an active role in ensuring you establish good friendships. And as I always say, looking at it from a spiritual or Christian perspective, pray. Before you start pursuing that friendship, pray, Nani, pray. Pray for that person. Because sometimes there are things you don't see that God sees. In your eyes, you can think that person is good, but maybe there are things God knows that you don't know. Before you start pursuing that person to deepen their friendship, ask God, is that person, I mean, does he approve them to be in your life, and does he approve you to be in their life? Because perhaps you are the problem. Maybe that person is good, but you will bring problems to the other person. So pray, and if it is, and then ask God that if that friendship is not meant to be, let it just fizzle out as time goes by, and then trust God. If it fizzles out, say, this was not meant to be. And sometimes some friendships are meant to be, but not at that time, maybe in the future. So the ones that don't work out, let them be. You lose nothing. Imagine, you lose nothing. At least you tried. But pray, pray kabisa. Pray for these people you are pursuing friendship with. And if you have children, pray for the friends that will come in their life. If you have a spouse, pray for the friends that will come in their life, because friends, whether we like it or not, iron sharpens iron, man sharpens man, and we influence each other. Peer pressure is real across all ages, and we are all susceptible to peer pressure. Agree, disagree, everybody is susceptible. You can be influenced, whether you know it or whether you see it or you don't see it, you can be influenced. So pray for the friends that come to your child's life. Pray for the friends that comes to your spouse's life. Pray for the friends that comes to your sister's life, your brother's life. Pray for the friends that come to your own life. That there will be people that, one, are genuinely good. Two, God approves in your life or in their life. You're praying for others, so that eventually we all end up having a good experience in life, because friends are part of the people that help us to create experiences in life. And so that friends are important. That is why they say friends are the family you choose for yourself. And as you're busy praying for your children, for yourself, to have good friends, let us learn to teach our children, even as we teach ourselves, to be better friends, so that we can have a more empathetic society in the future, at least a kinder society than what we see